Hello folks, welcome to a special weekend video, I guess. Gonna be a pretty chill one today. It's Sunday. I'm not gonna go busting my balls trying to get through all of our content in one small sitting. Instead, I'm just gonna sit here and chill and go over some questions that have been sent in by our lovely Patreon community. If you want to send me some questions when I do another one of these, or you want to see every video that I do early, apart from this one of course, because it's Sunday, head on over to the Patreon. You get it a couple of days early, and you also get access to the Discord part of the Discord where we can all talk together and have a little chat together. Me and you have a little chat. The Discord itself is free. You know, it's only that one little area that you get if you're a part of the Patreon. But you know, people ask me all the time, so there you go. Right, let's get the first question going, shall we? It is a ranty one. Do you think Games Workshop will pull an end times on 40k and restart it all? Maybe with the Emperor coming back. I'm going to be honest, I don't think Games Workshop have the balls to do something like that. I don't think they will ever have the balls to do something like that. I mean, they have killed off, what's his face? Yarrick. Commissar Yarrick. And I'm going to do a video on that next week, I think, because it really is annoying me how you know, we have all of these multitude of Space Marines that you could just get rid of. You know, you have so many Space Marine characters that you could just murder and kill, and they're gone, you know, in a heroic way. Whereas, no, you have to go and kill Yarrick, who's like one of the best, you know, Guard characters that there is, you know. The Guard don't have many characters, but no, yeah, let's go kill him, you know. They pulled the same thing back in the day when they got rid of Eldrad for a while, even though he came back, because you know that's how sacred 40k writing is, I suppose. You know, they had in the original, I think it was the Eye of Terror campaign, they killed off Eldrad, and of all of the factions that didn't deserve a character getting killed off because they literally don't have any characters, it was the Eldar. But no, you know, all the Space Marine characters can stay. All of the obnoxious Space Wolves can stay. You know, every single Space Marine chapter has about 5 or 6 characters, named characters. It's ridiculous. You couldn't just kill one of those, you know. Of course you didn't. No, you had to go and kill Eldrad. And it's the same with Yarrick. I know he's old. I know he's getting on. I know that he you know, perhaps needs his time to rest. But at the same time, I honestly think that he was just such a cool character, you know. So I don't see GW having the balls, and whenever they do grab the balls and go, right, we're going to do this now, they always seem to do it in a completely the wrong way. They always seem to just wander off and they'll make a random decision that no one really understands or likes. Bringing the Emperor back, there's only really one way feasibly that I think you can do it. And I think I've said it before, I've done it on my own videos about how I would bring him back. I think that's the only way you can do it, is that you keep his spirit lashed to the Golden Throne, and you bring him back as a Primarch level, Primarch tier dude with all of the knowledge of the Emperor in his brain, you know? So that way you can start advancing the Imperium's tech a little bit and things like that. But I also think that bringing the Emperor back does signal the end times, like the actual end times, and it also signals not the end of the setting, but the end of the setting as it was. Because if the Emperor comes back, all of a sudden you will see the Imperium start advancing in technology and advancing along the lines that the Emperor wants and things like that. So I think you would then start to see, you know, the setting die for what it was. Which is why in my own I kept the Emperor pretty religious, right? I made sure he was a god, and he knew he was a god, and he was very religious about it. And that means that he keeps the Imperium pretty much as it is. You know, the grey area. Anyway, moving on. No, I don't think they will. They don't have the balls or the intelligence, but there we go. So, not a question per se, but what are your opinions on the coming Arcs of Omen books, since it seems they will be the send-off for 9th edition? Being new to 40k and edition changes, and only knowing that the last big narrative campaign like this was with Gathering of Storms, with the fall of Cadia and the resurrection of Guilliman. Just wondering how you're feeling about it. I'm going to be honest, I like what they're doing with Arcs of Omen. I actually like the fact that they're not just giving us the same old tripe, the same old people all over again. They are giving us a brand new Chaos character, which is pretty cool. I wish Abaddon wasn't as involved. He doesn't need to be involved in everything bad going on in the galaxy, you know? He's starting to get one of those annoying Ramsey Bolton teleporting powers that, you know, we need the villain to be here now, so he's just there. Starting to get that way, so I'm really hoping that they backtrack and they dial down his involvement a little bit, because he's had enough. He's had enough time in the sun now. So, you know, it is what it is. But Arcs of Omen, I think it's a good idea so far. I like the first one. I like the way that they're moving technology along a little bit on the Chaos side of things. With the new Chaos character. I think he looks pretty cool too. So, I'm reserving judgment because we've only had one volume, and the one volume that I've seen isn't even out yet. It's just been given as a preview. You know, I've seen a few PDFs as a preview. That's it. So I know pretty much what's in it, but not like, you know, back cover to cover. So, writing seems fine. Going forwards, it seems like it's going to be okay. I just need to see more of it. I need to see more of what the hell's going on with Arcs of Omen before I actually hang my hat on it. But I like the fact that they're trying to advance the storyline, because this is a storyline that doesn't advance at all. You have to remember that. This is 40k is a setting that doesn't advance. That's the whole shtick. It doesn't advance at all. Now it is. So we're going into a brand new world of what 40k is capable of and what it can do. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I would like to think that they're going to do a good job, because what they're doing doesn't really take that much brains. They're not really moving forward to the setting as a whole in like a seismic shift. As the send-off to 9th edition, it can't come quick enough, because 9th edition has been... It has reset a lot of the progress that happened in 8th. There are a lot of people that I know. I know a lot more people who liked 8th than who didn't like 8th. And 9th edition kind of reset and bloated the whole thing again and made it a bit of a shit show, to be honest with you, which is very much a shame. But you know, it is what it is. But Arcs of Omen, I'm going to reserve judgment. I think it looks pretty cool, and I wish they weren't using Abaddon as much. But you know, I'll do that one next time. Okay. In my hometown in Sweden, we have a fantastic game store, non-GW. How does your own dream store look, and how would you run it? Oh, okay. Interesting one. Okay, so I would. I would combine a bar. So I would have a downstairs bar, you know. No, actually, no. The first floor would be like a cafe slash board game place slash wargaming place with like really rustic decor and, you know, varnished wooden furniture, hot chocolates, coffees, you know, nice teas, Yorkshire of course, cake, bacon, all that sort of stuff, all down there, you know, all brunch stuff downstairs. And also you've got like a gaming tables and things like that downstairs as well. Then upstairs you would have a bar where you can play board games and alcoves and all sorts of shit. And there would also be like a D&D section upstairs in the bar where you can order drinks, order snacks, and like have your own alcove to yourself to play your games in. And that's what I would do. That'd be my ideal kind of a bar, to be honest with you. My ideal kind of a place. Because drinking's good. I like drinking. Also, you know, cheap prices, but you know, as prices I can make them anyway. Hi Northern, I would like to ask about your best gaming experience, what it would be. So, the 40k match that you came away most happy with. Keep up the awesome work, love your videos. Okay, I would say, yeah, okay, so this one happened ages ago. Ages ago. And it was when I first got into the hobby. So, I'd go to Games Workshop religiously every single week with my Eldar army and get smashed. Because Eldar in the edition I think it was like 3rd or 5th edition, or 3rd or 4th edition, Eldar were very good if you knew how to use them. They were essentially the epitome of a glass cannon. And I essentially walked into Games Workshop and got my backside handed to me every single week because I was young and I picked all of the models I thought were cool and not necessarily what worked in the meta, you know? And even then, I didn't really know how to use it. So I'd get my shit pushed in every single week until one week when I turned up and I'd been getting better and better and better and better as the weeks go on. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who sticks with things that well, at least at that age. So the fact that I was getting better, no one really said, you know, hey, you're getting better, you know, you're getting much better. But my losses were getting much closer, and I was playing with people who were a lot older than me as well at this stage. I'd won a few games, quite a few games actually, against people my own age at this point, and so they just stopped playing me, which is what kids do. You know what I mean? If they get a few lickings, they then just stop playing you. So I ended up playing the older guys, and they would always beat me over the head because you know they have a lot more experience than me. So we had a guy called Dan who was one of the staff members at Games Workshop Liverpool on Lord Street. And he was a tournament player. Like, he would go around to tournaments with his Chaos Army, with his old Abaddon of the Spoiler, you know, list, his Death Star list. It was very, very good. And one day, he'd seen I'd beaten quite a lot of the kids who were in the store, like myself, of my own age. And he said, you know, he said, hey, you know, do you want to have a game today? And I was like, wow. Because you have to admit, like, remember, like, to a kid, a Games Workshop employee is kind of like a celebrity, you know? I was like, wow, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. So I dropped all my stuff and I said, yeah, okay, I'll play. And I played what I can only determine as the best game of 40k I've ever pulled out. Like, everything, I made really good tactical decisions. I, you know, chopped him up where I could, and I avoided him when he was weak and hit him. Sorry, I avoided him where he was strong and I hit him where he was weak. And I literally tore him to shreds. Now, his list was so good that he ended up clawing it back and winning with Abaddon at the end. It was Abaddon versus the Wraith Lord at the end of the battle. Those are the only things that were left. And he killed the Wraith Lord, just about, right at the end. And I was pretty gutted, because I had a really good chance of beating him. And by this time, the entire store had gathered around to watch. And were all, like, kind of not cheering me on, but, like, really wanting me to win. Because Dan didn't lose. Or if he did, he didn't lose very often. And so he won. And I was thinking, oh my god, you know, he's going to, like, take the piss out of me like a lot of the other guys do. And he leant over the table and stuck out his hand. And I shook it. And he said, that is the closest I have been run in about 2 years. That is an average army at best. And you've just played it like, you know, like, that was a brilliant play. Like, that was not the army, that was you. That was all you. You're very, very, very good at this game. You need to go to a tournament. And I was like, wow, you know, that really, I didn't understand that. He's like, yeah, you need to go to a tournament. Not with that list. Go with a better list. But if you go to a tournament, you will do well. I walked outside that day, waiting for my mum to pick me up. And, like, a lot of my friends were like, wow, that was really cool. Like, you know, you should definitely go to a tournament. And I never did, because school got in the way. And GCSEs happened after that. And I just got snowed under, and I never went. And then by the time I got back into the hobby full-time, or at least, you know, kind of full-time, I was in full-time work, you know. So it never happened, but maybe one day I'll go back to a tournament. That was my favourite game anyway. That one that I still remember. So. Hey North, I know it's probably a niche question, but how is your hobby setup arranged? Oh my god. Funnily enough, I was thinking of sending this question into Hobby Nightmares, but didn't think it quite fit. Anyway, Happy New Year's. As your channel is leaning towards lore and built upon the communal and game experience aspects of the hobby, the construction and painting aspect hasn't really been explored as much, so it would be an interesting direction to look at. Anyway, I am notoriously verbose, and so I'm going to shut my gob now. All the best. Oh, you're all right, man. You're okay. Cheers, Disc. I don't say the names of these questions just in case it's your real name, because I know I'll mess up. So, my hobby setup at the moment, I'm living in a house in Liverpool that I have basically, when I came back to the UK, I had an option of getting my own place or, you know, paying the mortgage off on this place, which is my granddad's place, and moving in to look after him. And I said, yeah, that's going to save me in the long run. It'll be a bigger expense right now when I move in, but it'll save me in the long run because I'm not paying for rent. So I did that. And my initial plan was 3 years. 3 years in this place. 2 years and I've paid for it, what I spent, you know, to get it, to buy the place. And then 1 year, I've got basically savings. 1 year of saving. And that just started now. So my third year just started. So this can be the saving year, hopefully. So I don't have that much hobby space because I have my master bedroom over there and I have my office. And so whenever I do 40k or anything like that, I have it set up next to me, on the desk next to me. And it is all there. Like, everything that I have is there. My PC is here as well. So I'm just like most of you. I've got it mostly in the same space. I'm not a hobbyist YouTuber. I'm not the guy who tells you how to paint things or shows you how to paint things. So I don't really have a space for that. My space is for writing and for doing lore and bits and bobs like that. And my office looks very much like that. So yeah, essentially, I'm just like you. I have all my pots of paint next to me, all neatly in a line. I have an empty glass here for my painting water. All my brushes set out, and any models that I want to do set to the side on a shelf, ready to go. So, yeah, just a normal hobby setup, man. There's nothing crazy going on. It's just, you know, just me. Anyway, so for a question, you've spoken in many of the lore videos about the negative impact of meme culture and on various factions. What are some things those of us who care about the lore can do to combat this meme lord influence in the hobby? That is a easy and difficult question at the same time. So, I would say there's nothing you can do to combat the meme culture aside from don't engage with it. So if it's out there, just be like, nah, that's not for me, you know? Don't be a dick. Like if someone's just enjoying their hobby and just says something memey, like, don't be that guy. Don't be like, well, actually, I think that's very silly of you, and I don't think you should. You know, there's no need to do that. There's absolutely no need to do that. Let people enjoy their hobby, but also realize that, you know, if they're doing certain aspects of it that just aren't for you, just move away. Just don't engage with it. Just don't engage with it. I don't. I generally, whenever somebody is too memey or too talking about Smurfs and, you know, all this other nonsense, I generally just backtrack and go, yeah, you know, okay, fine. And I just stop engaging with them on a lore level. I won't really talk about the lore with them. And eventually, if they don't stop with the old memeage, I'll say, listen, man, look, and then I will explain, look, I like the memes as much as the next guy, but like, I don't like them all the time. You know what I mean? Can we just, if there's interesting bits of the lore, can we talk about them? Because I really like you at the same hobby as you, and I think you're a really cool guy. Can we just do it that way? That's what I would do. In all honesty, that's what I would do. So let people enjoy the hobby. If they want to do the meme stuff, it's fine. I do think it's damaging to the lore overall, because I think Games Workshop are stupid enough to see the memes and lean into them and take them as read. And unfortunately, a lot of new people coming into the hobby, you're poisoning their experience of the hobby. Because if they come in and they say, I quite like this Rebute Gilliman person, and you go, you mean rowboat girly man? right, if you're doing that all the time, they are going to be like, is this what this hobby is? Is this it? Like, are there this people like that, is it? Okay, great. That's not what I want. And also, you're ruining their enjoyment. What if they've just discovered Ultramarines, and they actually think they're kind of cool? And then you come in, and some people are susceptible to peer pressure, very susceptible to it. If you come in and go, and you just start talking shit, then they that's how they all speak, by the way. That's how it sounds to me whenever I go, oh, girly man. Right, that's how it sounds. Like, I just don't. You're ruining their first exposure to the hobby. Okay? So if you come in and somebody likes Death Corps of Krieg and you go, spades, right? They're just gonna be like, wow, is that all it is? Is that what I'm gonna get shouted at me whenever I bring out my Death Corps of Krieg army? Wow, okay. Look, if somebody's new, don't meme them. Just allow them to get into the hobby on their own. That's fine. And if you are somebody where you're annoyed by a copious amount of memes like I am, just avoid it. Whenever it comes up, just go, yeah, and then move on. Yeah, yeah, and then move on. You know, just don't engage with it. It's perfectly fine and healthy if that's how you want to engage with your hobby. Don't get me wrong, right? Do not get me wrong. But still, just saying. All right. As someone who grew up playing 40k from the 90s, I, like many others, feel that the hobby as a whole has changed so much from what I once loved. I want to be a positive force in the hobby and encourage new players. How do I do that and not become the guy who just lives in the past? Example, I don't feel like I could play Age of Sigmar. I could say Age of Sigmar is a great game in good faith. Okay, cool. Now I've spoken to this person, and I know you are a very positive person. Like I've heard this person argue, very, what's the point I'm trying to make? I've heard this person argue very charged points with people. You know, religion, sex, things like that, right? And they've always been very, very, very understanding and calm and nice. So I would say carry on doing what you're doing. Carry on having that maturity where you can actually be like, you can see the other person's point of view. You can literally, like, that's what university should teach you to do, is to sit down and see their point of view. And even if you still disagree with them afterwards, you can still see where they're coming from and agree to disagree, right? Maybe come back with your own point, but still agree to disagree. So, all you need to do, man, all you need to do is make sure that when you're telling people what you like about the hobby, make sure it's what you like about the hobby. Go in and say, listen, these are the things that I love about the hobby, and celebrate them with people. And the more people you do that with, the more people will come over to your side of feeling. You don't need to go in there. The only problem would be if you went in there and you told people how to enjoy their hobby. That's not the thing to do, right? That is completely beyond the pale. Do not go in and tell somebody how they should enjoy the thing that you like. And if they're not enjoying it in the same way as you are, then they're doing it wrong. And that's what I've just said about the memes, right? I'm not the kind of guy to go up to a meme guy and say, stop doing that, I don't enjoy it. Because the world doesn't conform to my view, right? Other people will be into this hobby for different things than I am, and that's fine. I just don't engage with the stuff that I don't like. It just is what it is, right? I just don't engage with it. I'm fine, I just back away. I'm okay, I'm good, thank you. You know? And that's what you should do. Engage with the things you like, and you don't need to like everything. You don't need to like Age of Sigmar. You're not obligated to like everything in the hobby. That's the thing. You're not some sort of curmudgeonly old fart if you don't like certain things in the hobby. What you are is a normal hobbyist who doesn't just blindly like everything that he sees. That's all, right? Don't worry about it at all. Carry on doing what you're doing, is my advice. Carry on being understanding. Carry on liking what the people have said and talked about, and enthuse them about the things that you like. Talk to them about things that you like and why you like what you're into, about the 40k hobby, and about what we're into. Okay, that's all. That's all. And yes, I did get the first part of your message. I will change it whenever I do the next update for that flash screen. Anyway. Let me just go on here. Okay. What got you into teaching? A lack of money. No. And like I've always, I think this is the reason why YouTube suits me so often is because, number one, I have opinions, and number two, I like the sound of my own voice. If you're one of those kinds of people, then teaching may be for you. To be honest with you, if you have knowledge and passion about a subject, and you really, really, really want something, like you really want to talk about something and share your knowledge of a subject, and you like talking, you like the sound of your own voice, teaching might be for you. Head on over there and have a go. What got me into teaching was wanting to bring my knowledge and my passion for history to younger generations, and to actually earn money doing that, right? And also, I met another teacher, my ex-wife to be was also a teacher, and so I sort of gelled in there as well, and we went off together to become teachers. Neither of us became teachers, actually. She now works for Whole Foods in the US, and I work for, I'm a private tutor. I work for private education, essentially. I teach privately now. I do university seminars, courses. I teach at colleges, things like that. I do YouTube on the side, of course. So yeah, I've just diversified my income, and that's what I do now. What do you love about teaching the most? So I used to love I used to love it when a kid was really enthused in what I was talking about and was really into history. Like that would I could gel onto something like that with I don't like 1,000 paces. I could tell if you were into it, and I would gear my entire session to you. You know what I mean? Nowadays, um, having students who are at university level tell me things, surprise me with things. So I've had students who have been doing research into different fields, especially different battlefields, and we did the Battle of Kainos Kephalai a few weeks ago. If you don't know what one that is the first time the Romans and the Macedonians really came across each other on the battlefield, and the Romans beat them like a drum, as they always do to most people. And somebody came up with a really, really, really salient point that I hadn't seen in the research, in the primary sources, and I was just like, that is amazing. Like that's great. You know, that is a really cool thing that I love getting across, like getting from students. That I love that part. What advice would you give someone stepping into a classroom to teach for the first time? Everybody sucks. Every teacher you know sucks. So I had a teaching mentor in the US who was a great teacher, fantastic teacher, but he sucked. Like, I'm gonna have to explain that. He just wasn't very good. Like when I actually watched people who were getting paid a lot of money to teach online, those people were much better than him. Much better than him. But he was giving good lessons at high school level that were seen as very, very, very good lessons by other people. You don't need to be this doctor of whatever to walk into a classroom and be a good teacher, right? If you've got passion for your subject and you can break down complicated ideas and you've got passion for what you're saying, a school will love you. They will want you, right? They will want you there 9 times out of 10. So forget about being good. Be passionate. Forget about being good. Just be passionate. Passion will get you through 9 times out of 10 in teaching. It honestly will. And kids are not as bad as you think they are, especially if you're in the US. If you're in the US, you do not realize how lucky you are. I've taught in several schools in the US, and all the kids over there are 9 times out of 10. They are lovely. They're amazing. Even at rough schools, they're just nice. They want to be there. They want to work. And if they don't want to work, they won't disrupt the rest of the class. They'll just sit there and be lazy. And I don't mind that. Be lazy. These are your grades. I don't care. I don't care. These are your grades. It's fine. No, you fuck up if you want to fuck up. It's called personal responsibility. In the UK, it's different. In the UK, you have kids disrupting the class all the time, throwing stuff, getting into fights in the classroom. It's just horrible. Like, teaching in the UK it sucks. So my advice, if you're getting into teaching in the UK, is don't. At least until they up the respect that teachers get from the government. The respect, they don't get any, is what I'm saying. They do not get any at the moment from the government. The pay is ridiculously low. And when you realise how much work you do away from the classroom, and you factor in, because you're not getting paid for that, you factor in how much your work is actually worth, you're getting paid well below minimum wage to do one of the most stressful jobs available. Don't teach in the UK. Don't. That's my advice. Until they learn how to respect teachers and what they do, don't. Force them to respect teachers by not getting into the profession in the first place. And then when they do, go back. I have a question if it's not too late. It wasn't too late. Considering how all the Primarchs are coming out of retirement, well, eventually, and the well for returning heroes will dry up with them, how would you introduce new characters into the setting that would, say, have such a lasting impact on the setting, with keeping the ideal of tragic irony you have established in the Northiverse? Okay, so I would take people like Decimus from the Night Lords trilogy. That is a character introduced at the end of the Night Lords trilogy, who is essentially, you know, one of the best characters in that trilogy. Like he's going to be, he's seen as the scion from both trees. You know, he is the Eldarian. You know, he's this new guy who's going to come and save the Night Lords. I would actually have characters like him enter into the setting proper, and I would actually have them kill some of the old guard. So I'd have 4 or 5 of these guys turn up and kill some of the old guard. So a new Abaddon would kill Abaddon. You know, you do things like that. You'd set the past to rest and have new guys from a new age come and start pushing everybody's shit in, right? That's what I would do. And instead of writing their lore in codexes and things like that, I would actually write their lore in books. I would have really top quality 40k books come out that can be sold normally, not sold for 40k people. I would have a sci-fi writer come in, and I'd say, hey, I want you to write in the 40k universe. I want you to write this story. Don't write it for the 40k hobbyist. Write it as if the 40k universe was yours and you were explaining it to somebody as we're going on, right? If you read things like any Joe Abercrombie books or any sort of Leviathan Wakes and things like that, or whatever, from other authors, they don't sit there with an exhaustive list and tell you what the setting is. They just plonk you in the setting and they explain the setting by showing you it in action. That would be a really cool thing for 40k to do, is to stop writing books for 40k fans, right? As a 40k fan, I don't want to sit there and have a load of hobby jargon thrown at me from a writer who thinks that when they're smelling their own farts, right? I want to read a book set in the 40k universe. And by that, I want a talented writer to just... That's why Eisenhorn was so good. He didn't just sit there and explain the 40k universe to you. He showed you the 40k universe. Bit by bit by bit by bit, all the way through the book. That's why it was so good. I would do that, and that's the way I would bring in new characters into the 40k universe. They would all be introduced in books like this, and then they would have their own models, and they'd be in the codex and things like that. That's what I would do. That's how I bring in new guys. Do you like mushrooms? Okay. Are you one with the root? Do you like turnip 28? And if not, why not? Okay. I don't know what any of that means. So I'm just going to bypass that and say, do you like mushrooms? I'm going to take that as the narcotics question that it is. No, I have had edibles. They don't really do anything to me. You know, I prefer to smoke it. If I'm going to do anything, I'll smoke it. That's just what I'll do. Moving on. So, this is primarily a mental health in and around the hobbies channel. You get some damn tough stories from people sometimes, and generally frustrating stories to say the least. Otherwise, does the regular battering of nightmares that often bring up personally relatable situations for you have any negative effect on your mental health? You put out a lot of content regularly, which is awesome. I just hope said content doesn't weigh on you. Anyway, the usual, thanks for what you do, man. Hope you're getting plenty of beers from us. Cheers, Easton. Cheers, man. So, I would say... Sometimes, yeah. I have had some heavy ones come out where I get sent some stuff. Do you know what the heaviest ones are? The ones I get from Games Workshop staff. The Games Workshop stories one are the heaviest for me sometimes. And those aren't really mental health ones. Those are more like, wow, this really bad thing happened to me, and I love this company, and I'm sick of being treated this way. Those are the ones that I find hardest to go through because I've lived it, and it's not fun to have your hobby taken away like that and to have it, you know, shoved away like it's not really that important. So yeah, those are the hardest ones. The ones about relationships too are equally hard, because I've been through that too, and obviously general depression. The general depression ones aren't that difficult, because I can give advice to get out of it. Yeah, I've done it, and same with the relationship stuff. I've done it, you know. Whereas there are some of these ones that I get that I don't. The hardest ones that I get, I don't read out. You know, whenever I can, I will get back to you and talk to you, but I don't read them out. And if I have ever not gotten back to you because it's taken me for ages, it's just because I'm snowed under with work. It's not because I've read it and you're not very interesting. Listen, I've read more than a few and then just forgotten to get back to you because the next day I get snowed under with work. I've read it in bed at night. The next day I get snowed under with work and it just goes out of my mind. You know, that's kind of a thing. So, but most of the ones that really affect me, I don't read out, because those are the ones that I just write back to. And sometimes I have had messages from more than one person where they've been too far gone. Where they've sent me things that are a bit weird, a bit gone, a bit mentally all over the place, and I've had to just say, listen, man, go to therapy. I can't help you. You're beyond my help. I'm not a professional psychiatrist. I can't prescribe things to you. You need to go to a therapist. Here are some good ones that I know of that live in your area, if I know them. And if I don't know them, here's some mental health charities who can get you on the right track that are in your area. Yeah, those are the ones I find really hard, because they're like I think a lot of them want to be read out on the channel, and I just can't. Not when they're that bad. So yeah, sometimes I do get ones that I generally come away going, wow. You know, it's kind of like that Stan song when he's at the end of the Eminem's at the end of that video when he's sitting there reading the fan mail. You know, that's kind of like that kind of a feeling. I've gotten a few of those, and those are tough. Those are tough. Those are tough days. So yeah, the Patreon helps. It really does. Like, if you like what I do and stuff like that, it really does help get a shot in the arm. Especially because, here is another question that I was given before about mental health, is how do you cope with the YouTube, with things going on YouTube? I've not read that verbatim because it was like a paragraph. YouTube since the new year has started effing around with RPM rates again, and what your RPM rate is. So your cost per milli is how much you get paid per 1,000 views, and that is your CPM. Your RPM is how much you get paid out of that CPM. So if your CPM's $10, your RPM will be something like $7, right? Because YouTube takes a $2 out of it, and then blah blah whatever, $2 out, and there's another dollar going on something else, whatever. So YouTube since the new year, for some reason with me, my CPM and my RPM have been tanked completely. I don't know what's going on, but they're just gone. They're literally gone. I'm earning next to no money now on ad revenue because it's just what they've done. They've decided to do that over Christmas. Christmas was the best period I've ever had on the channel, where we had really good growth. Christmas for me is like September till January, the start of January. So we had a really good period of growth, an amazing period, done really well. Ad revenue was up, everything was up, CPM, RPM, everything was up. And then 1st of January, it's like they turned off the tap and went, no more for you, go fuck yourself. And now, I'm not in trouble, but the channel is not earning a quarter of what it was earning over the past couple of months. So if you like what I do, the best way to combat that is Patreon. It really is. Or become a member of the channel. But, you know, that's the only way to really combat it, is to do that. Sorry, but it just is. It is what it is. Because YouTube, I have looked, and I have researched, and I have had other YouTubers look at my problem, and they're all going, there's no reason why your rate should be down. You're doing exactly the same numbers. In fact, I'm doing more numbers now, views-wise, than I was doing in December, which was a really busy month. So my views have shot up through the roof, and my money shot down through the floor. So, you know, that is something that, in terms of mental health, that is one of the hardest things about this, is that it is having your work just completely shat on and not demonetized for no reason whatsoever. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. All of my geographies are good. Most of the people who watch my videos are from the US or the UK. If you're not from there, don't worry. Hello. I'm still grateful that you're here. But those are the places that do the most valuable ads, right? So nothing's changed. Nothing from December till now has changed in any of my information. The only thing that's changed is the money, for no reason. So that is also a hard thing. It is difficult for my mental health at times, when I'm just like, yeah, I'm almost scared to look at it, because it's hard to work hard on something and see the rewards go down rather than up. You know, that's hard. That's a mind fuck. It really is. Anyway, sorry to end on a downer. I have a few more questions here left. They will get answered next week, because I may make this a weekly thing. So that'll be pretty cool. So if you are a patron, please make sure that you keep sending in your questions. If you didn't ask yours this week, they will get asked next week. No problem. They'll be the first ones. They're all here. So, you know, Sky, you are next. Next on my list. Then there's Jake, Converted Iron, Shane, Vibratech, Berger, Richard, Jesse, Medbury Miniatures. You will all be next week. You'll all be next week. I've not used your second names just because I'm hoping you'll know who you are. You will be next week. Thank you. Love you a long time. I will be back tomorrow with some more Games Workshop stories. See you then. Have a good one.